I would like to ask you about the recent events in Nagorno-Karabakh region between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And look, I love both Azeris and Armenians here, so I cannot pick sides here. I cannot pick sides of Armenia just because it is part of the CSTO. I cannot pick sides of Azerbaijan just because I consider Azerbaijan is also a part of our family. All of former Soviet Union republics I consider a part of my family.
Yeah, right,
So
for
yeah.
sure.
So what my
So
question
what's your
is?
question?
My question is there a Turkish involvement? Is it an Erdogan's attempt to punish Russia?
Uh, well, the answer is yes, but I don't want to, you know, I don't want to. I mean, what do you want me to say? Look, it's a fucked up situation because there's reality involved, and you've got in Azerbaijan, uh, the the Russians are trying to influence the government in Azerbaijan,
Yes.
and the government in Armenia is probably more friendly to them, but Russia has a complex foreign policy. They don't always reinforce their strengths. Sometimes they put more resources towards their lesser strengths, which, of course, does serve a tactical purpose in some situations. I'm not. I'm one guy. I have a couple of researchers that work with me. We look at these questions, but we're nothing like a government level think tank. And these guys are running supercomputers. They're running programs that can chart out various scenarios using data that we don't have. And of course, they're just people who are just more intelligent than either of us, or people who are more experienced than either of us are working on this question very closely. So, for those reasons, I'm not one to usually second guess policies. I'm better at explaining them. So I can explain how I understand the Russian policy. They'd like, of course,
Yeah.
to have good relations with Azerbaijan and Armenia,
Yeah, for sure.
and it's but in the particular conflict in Azerbaijan, certainly historically Armenia uh, got the short end of the stick in the way that past divisions had been resolved, and I'm sympathetic to the Armenian side in that conflict. About Azeris, they're a distinct people. Others have questioned if they're really a state-forming people. They're in some ways somewhat like Bosniaks. They've always relied on the existence of other states to exist within, somewhat like Kurds. They have a state now, but that was only a product of Western engineered the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Prior to that, they were part of the Persian Empire. We know that, of course, the former Shah of Iran, Pahlavi's wife, was the princess from Azerbaijan, and historically they're considered to be Irano-Turkic or Turco-Iranic people. They're not purely Turkic. They're also like Iranian people. I think some of these labels are not very useful. Armenians are Armenian, but they're also Iranic. They're also Slavic. They're also Turkic in a way, but you can't say that. But men get around. They have lots of babies, and it's more complex than your passport, of course.
Sure.
Many armies have passed through all of these lands, and many seeds have blown across the wonderful hills and valleys, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, they're beautiful people, the Azeris, and I'm very sympathetic to Azeris. They're being played. So there's a Shah Deniz 2 consortium project to increase the production of natural gas from the Caspian Sea, and that is a Turkish-backed project that involves Israel, and so the goal there. So in other words, you've got Russia, which is a major gas producer, and if you're going to try to blockade Russia, well, that doesn't help solve Europe's energy needs. So the way they're trying to do this is basically to increase in production through the Shah Deniz 2 consortium of the gas pipeline and build that, have it go through Turkey, and then connect through Syria, which they want to be controlled by an FSA type government in the Damascus side. Of course, they want ISIS, Sunnistan in the center, but let's say in the coastal Levantine area of Syria, they want a pro-Israeli government led by, say, this transitional committee, this FSA, the high negotiating team, who are at large. And they wanted to have a government in Egypt led by Morsi to connect basically this, and there's the Israeli have gas, which is actually Palestinian, and I don't mean that in the post, or I don't mean that in the pre-1967 sense. I mean that in the post-1967 sense. In fact, it is off of Gaza. So that should be Palestinian even today. So it is a problem. They don't have the connecting piece. Then Iranians got out of the sanctions halfway. They're still pushing. There's games being played, but it gave enough. But the meme that Iran was out of sanctions was somewhat sufficient enough to get some investors steamrolling to get this Persian pipeline going, which is against the Turkish line right now. At least that connects to Azeri. But this is not what these people here want. Even Turkey wanted to have good relations with Iran to build this pipeline. And talking about the pragmatists, just energy market people, not Erdogan's neo-Ottomans, but just your standard oligarchs of Turkey in the energy industry wanted to have a normal deal with Iran. They couldn't get that. They were pushed into this governmental line of favoring the Israeli view, of overthrowing the Syrian, throwing the Egyptian government, and getting the gas pipelines through that way. That has failed so far. So that really puts Azerbaijan in a difficult situation. Who's going to purchase, who's going to bankroll this Shah Deniz 2 consortium project to get the Azeri gas through Turkey? Then you had the Russians coming in a year and a half ago talking about they reached some agreement with Turkey. They're going to call it Turkish Stream. Was that going to also bring in this or not? Probably have. The thing is that there's about 4 different projects that all have different names, but they all can't happen at the same time. And many of these different names have, many of these different projects involve members of the same consortia, and flip sides. And it's just as easy to back one or back the other. But what definitely can't happen is you cannot have a Southern Corridor plan that is American-backed with ExxonMobil and Shell, combined with reinforce the deficit by having fracked gas from America brought in to make up for the deficit of the lack of gas, because only Russia produces enough gas.
Yes, sure, absolutely.
So that's the kind of the geopolitics of the Azeri thing, and the fighting that's been happening in Armenia has been, and on the Armenian part of Azerbaijan, is complex. So it has actually been a conflict going on for 25 years.
Yeah.
So people don't really follow the story too much because it's in the Caucasus and it doesn't involve Wahhabis.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's big shit. It could blow up. But we had last year an attempt by the Americans to overthrow the Armenian government. That was called Electric Yerevan. That failed. I wrote about that. But
I made a video about that with Morris.
That's right. We talked about it. Right. Yes, you did. So that's really that's how I personally, Azeris have a right to self-determination as a people. Yeah. A lot of smaller states got their independence as a deal between great powers. Greece did, Serbia did. Yeah. So it's not wrong that Azerbaijan, basically, they didn't win a great war. They don't have a giant population. They didn't invent some great technology. They don't really have that, a powerful state basis of sovereignty. It was a negotiated sovereignty only based upon the weakness of the Soviet Union. But now that they have it, it would be wrong to say, well, they don't really deserve it. I've seen people suggest that Armenia should take over half of it and the other half should be Russia, like the oblast that Astrakhan is in should go farther south, and then that Iran should take the southern part. I don't support that. I think Azerbaijan should exist as it is, but the conflict there, I think that the Armenians have the better argument.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Anyway, that's all the time I have for
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll see you.
See you around, man. Bye.
Okay, bye.